The shame arrived with the appetizers. I want to describe the table first, because the table is everything, the specific geography of a wedding reception that has been arranged with the particular deliberateness of a family that understands seating charts as a form of communication. My cousin Diane's wedding was held in a hotel ballroom in October, 300 guests. The specific warmth of an occasion that has been planned for 2 years, and that smells of flowers and good fabric, and the particular anticipation of people who have dressed for something. I had been seated at the family table, not by accident. My in-laws, my husband's parents, Roland and Patricia Gaines, had coordinated with Diane's family to ensure that the family table included them and that I was beside Patricia, which meant I was inside the specific radius of a woman who had been waiting. I would later understand, for a public occasion with the right audience. My name is Josephine. I am 36 years old. My husband Marcus had been deployed for 7 months. He was not at the table. Patricia began with a question that was not a question, the specific conversational form of a statement that has been dressed as inquiry so that the person making it can claim innocence later. She asked, loudly enough for the 4 nearest tables to hear, what I had been doing with myself since Marcus left. I said I had been working. She said, working at what exactly? Because nobody seems to know. The table had 14 people. Roland was at one end. Patricia's sister Margot was there. 2 cousins of Marcus's I had met 3 times. Diane's parents at the other end, looking at their appetizers with the specific careful attention of people who know they are witnessing something and have decided to witness it without intervening. Patricia said, we worry, as a family, that Marcus comes home to a wife who has nothing to show for the time he was away protecting this country. She said this to the table generally. The table received it. I looked at my appetizer. I was not going to respond. Not because I had nothing to say. Because what I had to say was 4 minutes away. My assistant Yvonne had texted me at 7:43 p.m. I'm in the lobby. Document is ready. Say the word. I had said the word at 7:44. Before Yvonne walks through that door, I need to tell you what I had been doing for 7 months. Because the doing is the story, and the story has been happening quietly while Patricia was telling 14 people at a wedding table that nobody seemed to know what I was doing. Nobody seemed to know because I had not told them. Not from secrecy. From the specific professional judgment of someone who had spent 12 years in commercial real estate development and who understood that the most dangerous period of any significant project is the period before it is complete. When the outcome is still uncertain and when the number of opinions being offered about whether it will succeed can affect both your own confidence and the confidence of the people whose participation the project requires. Marcus had been deployed in March. In February, 1 month before his deployment, I had signed a letter of intent on a commercial property on the east side of the city. A mixed-use development. 4 floors. Ground floor retail, 3 floors of residential. In a neighborhood that had the specific quality of a place that had been undervalued for a decade and was in the process of being correctly recognized. The property had been in disrepair. Previous development attempts had failed twice in 8 years because the developers had not understood what the neighborhood needed and had been designing for the neighborhood they imagined coming rather than the community that was already there. I had spent 6 months before the letter of intent in that neighborhood. Not surveying, being present. Attending community meetings. Sitting in the coffee shop that had been there for 14 years. Talking to the business owners on the block. Understanding what the community needed from the development rather than what the development could extract from the community. The project had been the most demanding professional undertaking of my career. It had also, in month 7 of Marcus's deployment, received its certificate of occupancy. The building was complete. 3 of the 4 retail spaces were leased. 22 residential units were occupied. Yvonne had been with me for 4 years. She was 31 years old and had the particular organized energy of someone who understood that her job was to make the important things happen and to be exactly where she was needed when she was needed. She was in the lobby of the hotel. She was needed at this table. I need to tell you about Patricia because the story requires honesty about all of its people, and Patricia deserves to be understood accurately before she is reduced to the woman who said the wrong thing at the right moment. She was 63 years old and had built her identity around her son in the specific way of a woman whose love for her child had, across 36 years, become indistinguishable from her love for the idea of her child's life being exactly what she imagined it should be. She had imagined Marcus married to a woman who was visible in the ways Patricia understood visibility, who attended the right events and was known in the right circles, and who produced the specific social evidence of a life well managed that Patricia's generation had been taught to read as proof of a woman's worth. I was not that woman. I had never been that woman. I had been a woman who left early from social occasions because a site meeting required her presence, who declined invitations because a development timeline demanded her attention, who spoke about her work in the specific technical language of her field rather than in the accessible shorthand of someone performing professional success for a social audience. Patricia had decided, across 4 years of observing me, that my absence from her social map meant my absence from significance generally. She was wrong. She was wrong in the specific way of people who mistake invisibility for emptiness, who confuse the absence of performance with the absence of substance. My grandmother had once said to me, "The loudest people in the room are not always doing the most. The quietest people are not always doing the least. Watch what people build, not how often they announce the building." I had been building, quietly, in the specific patient way of someone who understood that announcements are for completions, not processes. The completion had arrived that afternoon. Yvonne had driven 4 hours from the development site with the certificate of occupancy, the signed lease agreements, the occupancy report, and the development summary she had assembled because she had known, because she knew me well enough to know, that the documentation would be needed at some point during this weekend. She had texted at 7:43. I had texted back at 7:44. She was walking through the ballroom door right now. She entered the ballroom the way she entered every room, with the specific efficient warmth of someone who is on her way to a destination and who does not waste motion getting there. 31 years old. African American. A fitted dark dress appropriate for a wedding she had not been invited to but for which she had dressed correctly because she had known, when she left the development site at 2 p.m., that the occasion would require it. She carried a leather portfolio under her arm with the particular professional composure of someone for whom portfolios and important rooms were the ordinary conditions of work. The table noticed her. Not all at once, the specific sequential noticing of people who see someone moving purposefully toward a table they are sitting at and who begin to understand, from the purpose of the movement, that whatever is about to happen was planned. Patricia watched her approach. Yvonne reached the table. She looked at me. "Ms. Josephine," she said, "I apologize for interrupting your evening. You asked me to bring this when it was ready." She set the portfolio on the table in front of me. "The certificate of occupancy was filed at 3:47 this afternoon," she said. "All documentation is complete. Congratulations." She looked at the table, a brief, composed, professionally warm sweep of acknowledgement that managed to communicate respect for the occasion without diminishing the significance of what she had just delivered. "Enjoy your evening," she said. She turned. She walked back the way she came. The table was quiet. I opened the portfolio. The certificate of occupancy was on top. Behind it, the signed lease agreements, 3 of them, each with the specific official weight of a completed transaction. Behind those, the occupancy report showing 22 residential units. Behind those, the development summary, 12 months of work, the property address, the total development value, my name at the top as the principal developer. I set the certificate of occupancy on the table where everyone at the table could see it. Patricia looked at it. Roland looked at it. Margot looked at it. Diane's parents looked at it with the particular careful attention of people who are trying to understand the dimensions of what they are seeing. I looked at Patricia. I did not say anything. I did not need to. The document was saying everything that needed to be said. The table was quiet for approximately 30 seconds. 30 seconds is a long time when you are sitting at a wedding table with 14 people and the specific silence of a group that has just had its understanding of a situation reorganized by a leather portfolio and a woman in a dark dress who walked in and walked out with the particular efficiency of someone who is on a schedule. Roland spoke first. He was 67 years old and had the specific quality of a man who had built his own business across 30 years and who understood, from that experience, what a certificate of occupancy represented in terms of the work that preceded it. This is on the east side, he said. Yes, I said. The mixed-use development on Meridian, he said. Yes, I said. He sat back in his chair. He looked at Patricia. Patricia was looking at the certificate of occupancy. Not with the expression I might have anticipated, not defensiveness or the specific reorganization of someone who has been caught in a wrong position and is managing their face. She was looking at it with something that was harder to read and that I did not fully understand until much later in the evening when the dinner had progressed and the table had moved on to other conversations, and she leaned toward me during a moment when the people around us were occupied. She said, I didn't know. No, I said. I was speaking from, she started. From what you could see, I said. Yes, she said. I understand that, I said. She was quiet for a moment. Will you tell me about it, she said. The development. What it is. How you. She stopped. She reformulated. Will you tell me what you've been building, she said. I looked at my mother-in-law. 63 years old. Wrong about me in the specific way of someone who has been looking at the wrong evidence. Sitting across from the right evidence now and doing what I had not expected her to do, asking to understand it rather than defending the wrong conclusion. Yes, I said. I told her. The dinner plates arrived. We talked through dinner. We talked through the cake. It was the most complete conversation we had ever had. Marcus called from his base at 8:14 p.m. He called on the nights he could, and tonight was one of those nights, and the timing was the specific timing of a deployment that had its own schedule and that did not adjust for wedding receptions or table conversations or leather portfolios delivered by assistants in dark dresses. I excused myself from the table. I went to the corridor outside the ballroom. The corridor was the specific quiet of a hotel hallway adjacent to an event, muffled music, the occasional figure moving purposefully toward or away from something, the particular in-between atmosphere of a space that exists to connect other spaces. Joe, he said. Hey, I said. How's the wedding, he said. Educational, I said. He laughed, the specific laugh of a man who knows his wife and who reads the word educational the way I meant it. My mother, he said. Your mother, I said. What happened, he said. I told him. The table. The question that was not a question. The 4 tables within earshot. And then Yvonne. The portfolio. The certificate of occupancy on the table. He was quiet for a moment. The CO came through, he said. 3:47 this afternoon, I said. Joe, he said. I know, I said. You finished it, he said. We finished it, I said. Your deployment made me the one who had to be at every meeting and sign every document and make every call. But you knew what I was building before you left. That matters. He was quiet. My mother, he said. She asked me to tell her about it, I said. Over dinner. She asked. She asked, he said. Not surprise, the specific registering of something significant. Yes, I said. And you told her, he said. I told her, I said. What did she say, he said. She said, I was measuring you by the wrong thing. Marcus was quiet for a long time. She said that, he said. Word for word, I said. He exhaled, the specific long exhale of a man receiving something he has been hoping for without knowing how to ask for it. 8 more weeks, he said. I know, I said. I'm going to walk through that building, he said. Yes, I said. You are. I called Yvonne at 10:15 p.m. She answered from the hotel bar where she had been having dinner. She had driven 4 hours. She deserved a meal, and the hotel was the practical choice for the overnight stay before the drive back. How did it land, she said. Tell me exactly what you saw when you walked to the table, I said. She described it, the specific sequence of what she had observed as she moved across the ballroom. The table noticing her. Patricia's face when she set down the portfolio. Roland's immediate professional recognition. The 30 seconds of silence after she left. Roland knew the project, I said. He knew it by address. He would, Yvonne said. That development has been in the commercial real estate conversation in this city for 18 months. Anyone who follows the sector knows the Meridian project. He follows the sector, I said. And now he knows his daughter-in-law is the principal developer, she said. Yes, I said. She was quiet for a moment. Miss Josephine, she said. Yvonne, I said. You knew this moment was coming, she said. You asked me to have the documentation ready this weekend specifically. I didn't know when, I said. I knew there would be a moment. You could have told them months ago, she said. You could have announced it before the CO was final. No, I said. Why not, she said. I thought about my grandmother's sentence. Because announcements are for completions, I said. Not processes. The work needed to be done first. The documentation needed to be complete. The building needed to be occupied. Then the announcement could mean what it was supposed to mean. Yvonne was quiet. What does it mean, she said. It means, I said, that for 7 months while my husband was deployed and his family was wondering what I was doing, I completed a 12-month commercial development on the east side of the city that will house 22 families and support 3 local businesses. That's what it means, she said. Yes, I said. Get some sleep, she said. You too, I said. Diane found me during the dancing. She was 34 years old and had been my closest cousin since we were children and had the particular quality of someone who has known you long enough to have witnessed every version of you and who therefore has access to the specific accurate picture of who you are regardless of what any individual evening's table conversation has suggested. She was in her wedding dress, which still had the full quality of itself despite the hours, the specific resilience of a garment chosen well. She pulled me to a quiet corner near the bar. Tell me everything, she said. I told her. She listened with the complete attention she had always given to things that mattered. When I finished, she looked at me for a moment. You had Yvonne on standby, she said. She had driven from the site, I said. You planned this, she said. I planned for a moment, I said. I didn't plan the specific one. The specific one, she said, was Patricia telling the table that nobody knew what you were doing. Yes, I said. And you were ready, she said. I had completed a 12-month development, I said. The readiness was the completion. The documentation was just the form of it. She looked at me. Joe, she said. Diane, I said. I want to apologize, she said. I looked at her. For the seating, she said. The table. I let Patricia's family place you next to her, and I didn't think about. Diane, I said. It's your wedding. You were thinking about your wedding. But I should have. You gave me the occasion, I said. I'm not angry about the table. The table gave me the moment. The moment required Patricia to say what she said so that the portfolio could land the way it landed. Diane was quiet. You're not angry, she said. I was never angry, I said. I was busy. She laughed, the specific full laugh of a bride at her own reception that carries the complete warmth of a woman who has had the best day of her life and who has just been reminded that some of the best moments are the unexpected ones. I love you, she said. I love you too, I said. Now go dance with your husband. She went. I watched her go. I thought about the portfolio on the table. I thought about announcements being for completions. This one had been complete. Patricia found me near the coat check at 11:45 p.m. The wedding was winding toward its end, the particular warm diminishment of an evening that has given everything it had and whose remaining guests are the ones who love the occasion enough to stay until it is fully over. She was wearing her coat. Roland was a few steps behind her with the particular patience of a man who has been married to a complicated woman for 40 years and who understands when to give her space and when to stand close. She stopped in front of me. I want to say something before we leave, she said. All right, I said. What I said at the table, she said, was wrong. Not only because of what the portfolio showed. It was wrong before the portfolio. The measuring of you by what you appeared to be doing rather than by who you actually are, that was wrong, and I knew it was wrong when I was doing it, and I did it anyway. I looked at her. Why? I said. She was quiet for a moment. Because I was afraid, she said. Marcus is deployed and I am afraid every day, and I needed somewhere to put the fear, and I put it in the wrong place. I sat with this. Patricia, I said. I understand that. I am afraid every day too. Marcus is my husband. She looked at me. I know that now, she said. Not, I know that, I knew it always. The specific, honest version. I know that now. The now meaning, what the evening revealed. We should have dinner, I said. When Marcus comes home. The 4 of us. Roland looked up from where he had been studying his coat with the particular attention of a man who is listening closely to a conversation he is pretending to be outside of. We'd like that, he said. Patricia nodded. Yes, she said. They left. I stood near the coat check. The ballroom was still doing its final warm things, the last dancers, the DJ's quieter closing selections, the hotel staff beginning the specific practiced work of returning the space to what it was before the occasion transformed it. I thought about Marcus. 8 more weeks. I thought about the building on Meridian. 22 families. I thought about Yvonne at the hotel bar. Then I went and got my coat. Here is what I kept from a wedding table in October, and a leather portfolio, and 30 seconds of silence, and everything that followed. I kept my grandmother's sentence: watch what people build, not how often they announce the building. I have carried this standard my entire professional life. The building is the thing. The announcement is the form the completion takes. The form matters only after the thing is real. Patricia measured me by the absence of announcement and found me lacking. I had been building a 12-month commercial development that would house 22 families and support 3 local businesses. The announcement arrived with a certificate of occupancy. This is the correct order. I am keeping it. I kept Yvonne. She drove 4 hours on the day the CO was filed. She dressed for the occasion she knew was coming, even though she had not been told the specific shape of it. She set the portfolio on the table with the composed professional warmth of someone who has been doing her job long enough to understand that doing it correctly is its own form of power. She walked back across the ballroom the same way she had walked in, efficiently, warmly, without looking back. I have given her the professional title that matches what she actually does, which I should have done 6 months earlier. She is my Director of Development Operations. It is on her card now. I kept Patricia's question: will you tell me what you've been building? She asked it in the specific, difficult way of a woman who has been wrong and who is choosing to move toward the truth rather than away from it. That choice cost her something. I respect the cost. We have had dinner twice since October. The dinners are not easy, and they are not resolved, and they are more honest than anything we managed in 4 years before the table. I kept Marcus's exhale. The long, specific exhale of a man receiving something he has been hoping for without knowing how to ask for it. 8 more weeks became 6 weeks, became 3 weeks, became the Tuesday he walked through the door of the Meridian building for the first time, hand in mine, looking at 22 units and 3 storefronts and the specific warmth of a building that had been built correctly. He stood in the lobby for a while. He did not say anything. He did not need to. I am 36 years old. My in-laws used a wedding to publicly question everything I was. My assistant walked in with a leather portfolio. The table went quiet. The building spoke for itself. It always was going to. I just needed it to be finished first. If this story reached something in you, if you have ever been in a room where someone questioned what you were building before it was done, and you had to trust the building, I want to hear about it in the comments. What were you building while they were doubting? Stories like this one stay alive because people carry them forward. Share this with someone who needs it today. And if you would like more stories told honestly, the way things worth keeping deserve to be told, subscribe. We will be here. The end.